Hello again, Carl again. Just a quick video on potting these acers. So bought these over the winter season. Got Harigamo there, Aratama, Ayoba Joe. Nice little things, all leafed out beautifully. Nice to see what they look like, because when I bought them they were just kind of sticks really. Strange though that sounds. So something I've sort of shown before, but just thought we'd run through it again. Why not? So what I've got here is my trees ready to go. I've got a mixture in here of 50-50 of eraceous compost. So that's the sort of compost for acid-loving plants. And the other half is a compost for mature plants, basically. So the mature plant compost gives it a bit of weight, and the eraceous compost gives it a bit of acidity. Doesn't need a huge amount of acidity, but it just sort of tips the balance, so it's a little bit acid, which many prefer. So what I've got in my pocket, hopefully, is a small piece of landscape fabric. So I know they say in sort of gardening programs or YouTube, whatever, to put crockery at the bottom of your pots. I prefer this because it does soak through, but it just does hold the water a little bit better, and I feel personally that it gives the water a better chance to soak through into the compost really. So what I'll do now is I'll put a layer on. So I hope I get this right, because it's been about a year since we've done this. A couple of things to note: I've not got any I won't put any fertilizer into this because this compost already has it in it. So it says it's got sort of 4 months worth or something. I don't know how they calculate that, but that's what it says. But I certainly don't want to add any more to that really, because it's already sort of well catered for. And as I said before, these trees are sort of ideally they kind of need a special slow release fertilizer, so we'll just let them run with what's in it. That's fine. And in my other video I showed about using a sort of proper acer feed really. So just pushing that down a little bit, and the idea is we're just building a platform, and we want this to go sort of level with the neck of the thing there or thereabouts. So that's looking pretty good. The idea is we've got enough room here to actually flood fill these when we water. Also relating to a recent video I did on the sizing of pots and stuff like that, I just think this is quite a nice size. It's not ridiculously over potted. It is the start of the season. These are just leafed out, so there's plenty of opportunity for it to grow. Plenty of fertiliser in the compost for it to grow too, but not a ridiculous size, because we don't want the plant to spend all its time producing massive roots. And also it's advantageous, hopefully by the end of the season it's kind of a nice root ball. It's starting to wrap around here a bit and protect itself. So from there we'll just centralise that up a bit. That's looking pretty good. And then this is, I'm reliably informed by one of my viewers, it's called slip potting. So what we'll do, we'll just apply compost around the edges. Again, this is my preferred method. I'm sure there's different ways of doing it. Everybody's different. But I just found it really successful. And then without having to mess with the roots and interfere with them too much, they have really good contact then with the compost that I'm adding. So just popping those in there. Again, being prepared is really handy. I've got plenty of compost to have a go at here. If I've got a bit too much, I can always keep it to one side. Normally I think I've got too much, and I kind of haven't really. So having applied some compost around the edges, I hope you appreciate it's a bit tricky with one hand, but there we go. We can press him down. There's an opportunity to sort of tilt and mess around with it and re-centralise as well, but these have been sort of well catered for. These are of course grafted trees. You can see the graft point there at the bottom. Again, many times said before, but I much prefer grafted cultivars. You know what you're getting. It's the copy of the original parent plant. It's much more, sturdy. Actually, these were absolutely rock solid. I mean, it got down to about -6 in the winter, and as you can see, because these are in the right size pot, I just left them alone. I think they've actually, and because they're grafted cultivars on a really good root system, I think they've done really, really well. And again, you could literally have hammered a nail in, I should think, with one of these. But no word of a lie, it was really, really solid, but not a problem. So hardiness, I think particularly when you've got these grafts, isn't really an issue. So nearly there. 1, 2, 3. It's where you need some help from somebody, really, perhaps, when you're doing videos as well, but it's all live and rehearsed and the real thing. So again, just based on what I've experienced in the past, really. So if we do something like that, as you can see, I've got a nice top part, not overfilled in any way. We can firm that down right in the pot just a little bit more, and then finally lift that out, and it's almost like an inverted sandcastle. So we just create a nice little square in there for the tree, and then actually one-handed. So again, you can see, because this was in a nice small pot, it's a bit pot bound, but I'm reliably informed that's not a bad thing over winter, really, because that might just sort of act as an overcoat, some protection from the inside. So I've kept the orientation the same. That slips beautifully in there. I must say, whether this is the best method or not, there is a certain satisfaction of it just creeping in there. If there's plants in there, the seedlings or whatever, I'll take them out. But if it's moss, we're happy with moss, because that'll kind of keep the moisture in a little bit. So nearly there. All that really remains is to give these a good watering in, I suppose. So as ever, I always use either rainwater or water that's, I should have a sprinkler on this, I'm very naughty, but either rainwater or water that I've used from the tap if the rainwater's in short supply. But I'll always put it into a water butt, so sort of fill it up the day before, really, give it sort of 24 hours in the water butt before I use it. Now, because this is good draining brand new compost, I'm not worried about overdoing this at all, really. In fact, if we just want to flood fill it, there's a kind of guarantee that it has a really good watering. Again, just harkening back to other videos, you can start to see bubbling appear. That's all the air pockets being filled in, really. So I know you'll read or see or watch, should I say, videos of people overwatering their trees. Underwatering will definitely cause a problem. So as long as you've got overwater them, or thoroughly water them, but with good drainage, that's the key, really. And then, as you can see, that's actually all disappeared quite happily. I mean, how long these have been sitting in, this compost has been sitting around, I don't know. And we can just see some drips, and probably hear some drips coming through. So we know we've got some sort of, that's worked quite well. Now, this is why I do this before I put some mulch on, because we probably sank a bit in this area here, or we can just do a little top up. So really, that's quite well. It's very, very moist indeed. That'll absorb into that, no problem at all. And then all I'll do to finish the job is grab a handful of bark, which I use as a mulch. Why? Well, because when it decays, it's slightly acidic, so that's sort of helpful as well. It will deter weeds from growing to some degree, and I think probably most importantly, the precious moisture that we have during those hot summer months, it will help it. So there we have a nice little fella, all potted up and ready to go. Easy as that, really. Again, I've got more pots to do the others. Easy peasy. So I won't bore you with that. I hope that's helpful. Again, there's all sorts of different ways of doing things, but just sharing my experience, really. It's what seems to work for me. So take care, and hope you like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Cheers.